As someone who myself received one of those IRS letters telling me that my tax information had been possibly compromised, as the deadline to file taxes winds down, certainly the only question on taxpayers' mind should be when they will receive their tax refund and not whether someone else has already beaten them to it. As I said, I received that letter actually last year informing me that my account may have been compromised. But recent news reports and audits of the Internal Revenue Service by the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration and the U.S. Government Accountability Office would suggest otherwise. On May 26, 2015, the IRS announced that criminals had gained unauthorized access to taxpayer information through its online Get Transcript application by accurately answering taxpayers' security questions. At first, as it shut down the application, the IRS claimed that around 100,000 taxpayers' accounts had been accessed out of about 200,000 total attempts. Since then, those numbers have been revised to approximately 340,000 in August, and as of February this year, to over 700,000 taxpayers who have had their personal and tax data stolen. So I guess I'm in a lot of company. The theft of this data enabled hackers to access information from prior tax returns, which resulted in fraudulent tax claims. Approximately 15,000 of the fraudulent tax claims were successfully filed with the IRS, leading to an estimated $50 million in illicit refunds. $50 million in illicit refunds to people who have stolen information and who had no right to that $50 million. Then on March 7th, 2016, the IRS suspended the Identity Protection Personal Identification Number, or IP PIN, application due to security concerns. The IRS began issuing IP PINs 5 years ago to victims of identity theft as an additional layer of security when they filed their taxes. But the system to protect the IP PIN application was the same as the Get Transcript application that was hacked last year. While the IRS suspended the Get Transcript application in May, it did not, May of last year, it did not suspend the IP PIN application until last month, during which time at least one individual had her taxpayer information stolen and used to file a fraudulent tax return. I understand and sympathize with the frustrations of the American public and the hard-working taxpayers over these incidents. And what makes matters worse is that no one had to break into the IRS system to access information. Instead, the criminals used information from other cyber attacks to accurately answer questions on the IRS website, to access information they should not have been able to access and may not have been able to access had the agency followed security guidelines provided by the National Institute of Standards and Technology. The ostensible lack of compliance with NIST guidelines is disconcerting, to say the least. While I appreciate the IRS's efforts to accommodate most people's desire to access their tax information electronically, it cannot do so at the expense of their security. Again, as someone whose own information was possibly compromised, we never know in these things actually, in last year's OPM hack, I assure you more security is better than less. This would also help many of my federal employee constituents who are impacted by the OPM breach. And I can tell you, as I go around to dozens and dozens of events and businesses, one of the first questions I ask them is, how many of you have had your information breached? How many of you have gotten those letters? Because I've gotten 2 of them. I had my OPM information also breached. And it is rare that I don't have half of the hands at any meeting in my district go up that they have had they've gotten one of those letters from the government. As one of the largest health insurance providers in the Commonwealth, the Anthem hack also hit close to home for us. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses today, and I thank you all again for being here. Before I recognize the ranking member, I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a couple of reports relevant to the hearing, one by the GAO and one by TIGTA. I also plan to, I will submit my letter minus some of the personal information, just so we have a sample of that. So without objection, so ordered. And I now recognize the ranking member, the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Lipinski, for an opening statement.